Why your first YouTube video should be messy. What if the single most powerful thing you could do for your YouTube channel right now has nothing to do with your camera, has nothing to do with your lighting, has nothing to do with your script or your editing software, and everything to do with hitting upload on a video you're not completely sure is ready? Because here's something most creators never talk about. The version of your first video that lives inside your head, the perfect, polished, flawlessly executed one, is quietly destroying your channel before it even starts. Let me ask you something right out of the gate. How long have you been waiting to feel ready? Be honest. Because for most creators, the answer isn't days or weeks, it's months, sometimes years. And I can relate because it took me a long while to get it in gear. And the longer you wait, the more your brain convinces you that the gap between where you are and where you need to be is way too wide to cross. But here's the truth. That gap isn't real. What's real is what happens in your brain the moment you stop waiting and start creating. And understanding that process is what changes everything, my friends. Let's start with what's actually going on inside your head when you think about posting that first video. Deep inside your brain sits a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Its entire job is to protect you from threats, and it's been doing that job since long before YouTube existed. The problem is, your amygdala doesn't distinguish between a lion chasing you through the savannah and a comment section on the internet. To your brain's fear center, public judgment feels like a survival threat. Your heart rate increases, your palms sweat, your mind floods with worst case scenarios, and your body's response is exactly the same as if your life were in danger. Because as far as your amygdala is concerned, it is. Hi, I'm Dan at Being Lifted Media. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. So here's the question that actually matters. If your brain is hardwired to interpret the risk of public failure as a threat to your survival, how do you ever get past that? The answer isn't to eliminate the fear. The answer is to move through it so many times that your nervous system stops treating it as a threat. This is called desensitization, and uploading raw, imperfect footage is one of the most direct ways to trigger it. Every time you hit publish on something that isn't perfect and survive the experience, your amygdala receives new data. The audience didn't destroy you. The discomfort was temporary. And slowly, video by video, your brain begins to rewire itself, recategorizing public exposure from threat to opportunity. Think about that for a moment. What would your creative output look like if posting a video felt no more threatening than sending a text message? But there's another piece to this that most people completely overlook, and it has to do with your dopamine. Your brain has two reward pathways competing for dominance when it comes to creative work. The first is the perfectionism pathway, the one that delays the dopamine reward until the work is flawless. The problem with this pathway is that the flawless never arrives, so the dopamine never comes, and you stay stuck in an endless loop of refinement and self-doubt. The second pathway is the completion pathway, the one that delivers a genuine neurological reward the moment you finish something and ship it into the world. Not when it's perfect, but when it's done. Here's what I want you to consider. Every video you publish, regardless of how polished it is or isn't, trains your brain to associate creative completion with reward. Over time, that association becomes a drive, the anxiety of reception. The anxiety of reception? What will people think? How many views will it get? Will the comments be kind? It starts to lose its grip. What takes its place is something far more powerful, the momentum of a creator who ships. And here's the part that surprises most people. The messy, unpolished, imperfect videos often connect the deepest. Not because low quality is a goal, certainly it's not, but because raw transparency is disarming. When a viewer watches someone show up authentically without the armor of perfect production, something happens that no amount of cinematic editing can manufacture. Trust forms. And trust is the foundation every successful YouTube channel is built on. Ask yourself this honestly. When was the last time you felt genuinely connected to a creator? Not because their production was flawless, but because something they said or showed felt completely real. That connection is what you're capable of creating right now. With the camera you already own and the room you're already sitting in. But it requires a fundamental shift in how you define success. Because if success means perfection, you will never start. And if you never start, you never grow. And we're all here to grow. The neurological pivot that changes everything is this: treating your early videos not as finished products to be judged, but as data points to be learned from. Cut and dry, simple as that. Every stumble on camera teaches you how to recover. Every awkward pause trains you to fill silence with confidence. Every video that doesn't perform the way you hoped gives you information you couldn't have gotten any other way. Information that makes your next video better. This is what iterative growth actually looks like. Not a straight line upward, a series of imperfect attempts, each one building on the last, each one compounding into something more powerful than the one before it. The creators you admire most, the ones with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and effortless on-camera presence, they didn't start there. They started exactly where you are right now. The only difference is they uploaded anyway. So here's a question I want you to sit with. What is one specific thing, one fear, one excuse, one imaginary standard that is standing between you, and you know where I'm going with this, and uploading your first video? Because building authentic creative stamina isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming someone who acts in spite of fear. Someone who understands that consistent momentum, showing up, recording, uploading, learning, so important, learning, I'll say it again, repeating, will always outperform the illusion of flawless execution. The creator who posts an imperfect video every week for a year will run circles around the creator who spent the same year perfecting a video they never uploaded. Here's the final question, and it's the one that counts. Are you building a channel or are you building an excuse? Your first video doesn't need to be your best video, not at all. It just needs to exist. Hit upload, let it be messy, let it be real, and trust that the act of doing it, the neurological pivot from paralysis to momentum, is the most important thing you will ever do for your channel, my friends. Start this week, start today, start now. Thanks everyone, have an amazing day. See you in the next one.